Hello! This is the introduction lesson to our final chapter of social studies, how provincial government works. This one is quite important considering the COVID and the lockdown and all of those pieces. As you'll see, the provincial government has really a lot of responsibilities, but their two main ones are education and health. And so a lot of what we'll talk about is what they decided in terms of education and health, and that has a huge effect on your lives, especially right now. So we'll start by talking about what our big question is. Why does having candidates from a variety of political parties contribute to democracy? The skill is identifying perspectives, and the viewpoints question is, should voting be compulsory? So some vocabulary that you could go over. I'm not going to go over every single one of these words, but if you'd like to pause, read, draw a picture, those are all great learning strategy. So words we'll use: act, bill, cabinet minister, constituents, constitutional monarchy, opposition member, political party, referendum, speech from the throne, subsidies, and that's all of them. So if you want to go back and read through these, read them out loud, draw a little picture, write them down in your notes. Those are all really good activities. So for today, we're just going to set up the chapter. We're going to talk about PEI and the provinces. We're going to listen and read along to 2 pages. And we'll start the provincial government placemat, which will be kind of like your notes for the unit. So here's a map of Canada. You should be quite familiar with this map. We live in Alberta, of course, and the capital city of Alberta is Edmonton. Okay, do you know all the capitals and all the provinces? Test yourself. What's the capital of British Columbia? No, not Vancouver, Victoria. Okay, BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, Newfoundland and Labrador, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and the territories are Yukon, the Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. I really want to visit Iqaluit. Did you know that Miss Pumphrey actually lived there for about 1.5 years? Isn't that incredible? Okay, so listen and read along. Chapter 6, How Provincial Government Works. Imagine you are a premier of a province, elected by the people to lead the provincial government. But what if the people don't agree on an extremely important provincial issue? What if even the members of your own family are on opposite sides and you were caught in the middle? Joe Giz, the former premier of Prince Edward Island, was a man with a big problem. The federal government wanted to build a fixed link, a bridge or tunnel from Prince Edward Island to the mainland. Islanders were split, one group for and one against a fixed link. Premier Giz had to find a way to be fair. Does this remind you of any choices that we've made, either as a city or a province? A few come to mind. Our local government decided whether or not to host the Olympics, and our province brought in daylight savings times about 50 years ago. Been reading my grandpa's journal, and that was a big election issue back in his day. A divided province. One evening, Rose Ellen Giz and her teenage son, Robert, were having a supper time discussion. Rose Ellen agreed with a group called Friends of the Island, who argued that the fixed link was a bad idea. They didn't want life on their province to change. Robert supported Islanders for a Better Tomorrow, who thought a fixed link would improve island life. They were tired of crowded, unreliable ferries, especially when the water was blocked with thick chunks of ice. Can you visualize that? Crowded ferries being blocked by thick chunks of ice. Joe Giz listened. Everywhere he went in the province, people had strong opinions about the fixed link. Why did people have different points of view about the fixed link? How would you decide what to do if you were Premier Giz? This is Premier Giz. And this is Confederation Bridge that stands between, spans the Northumberland Strait between Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. So you go back to our map, PEI and Nova Scotia, right? Pretty incredible. Did I miss PEI when I went through the provinces? Okay, bridging the divide. The problem of travel between Prince Edward Island and the mainland was an old one. In 1873, when PEI joined Canada, the federal government promised to provide continuous transportation. For years, there was a ferry service, but many islanders had become dissatisfied with this, and the idea of a fixed link was proposed. Premier Giz decided to take an unusual step and hold a referendum. Words matter. A referendum allows eligible voters to vote on an issue or law proposed by the government. It's similar to the direct democracy practiced in ancient Athens. On January 18, 1988, islanders had a chance to vote yes or no on the question, are you in favor of the fixed link crossing between Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick? Even though the issue had been controversial, only 65% of eligible voters cast their ballots. Of those voters, 60% voted yes and 40% voted no. The majority wanted the fixed link. Many islanders were unhappy with the result, but the will of the majority was upheld. The provincial government began to work with the federal government to build the link. On May 31st, 1977, the Confederation Bridge was opened. So here's a picture of the bridge, which is actually incredibly long. So that's what a referendum is. It allows eligible voters to vote on an issue, and it's similar to direct democracy because the people actually vote on the issue. It's rare because we live in a representative democracy, but sometimes we use concepts from direct democracy. Has anyone been on this bridge before, or anyone's parents? I'm really hoping to this summer when my friend Andrew gets married in Nova Scotia. But the issue, wait a second, the bridge is to New Brunswick? Did I read that wrong? Yeah, PEI in New Brunswick. I'm sorry. So it goes from New Brunswick to PEI. That makes way more sense than from PEI to Nova Scotia. Huh. Okay, I'm not going to be able to go on this bridge this summer. But I still want to. I think it's pretty incredible. Okay, your task today is get some paper, or you could do this on the computer as well, and create a placemat. What a placemat is, as you can see, is a piece of paper divided into 4 chunks, and it's just a way of organizing your notes. So in the middle, you're going to write provincial government, and then on the top, why? Why do we need provincial government? On the right, how is it structured? On the bottom, how is it elected? And on the left, how can we participate? Those are the 4 things we're learning and focusing on this unit. So having this placemat will allow you to jot down notes as we go. So that's your task. Make your placemat. I'm going to say that this is an extension. So scanning the rest of the slides and your notes and taking jot notes can be an extension for you to do now or an assignment for you to do as we go. So to recap, make yourself a placemat. It can look exactly like this or similar to this.